So recently, I've been playing. So
with yourself.
Wow. I've been playing Call of Duty Cold War. And this game came out like 3 years ago, but it just became available. So if you have PlayStation Plus, which allows you to play online and stuff, you have that game on. You own it. It's like free, pretty much.
You own it. You own it.
I haven't bought a Call of Duty game in years. I haven't played a Call of Duty game in years, but I downloaded it because it's free. And I need to stop because it's sinking its hooks in me because it's actually really fun.
Talking about sinking your hooks in me,
it reminded me of it's kind of weird because it was like nostalgia, but it's also a modern video game.
So it's the newest one?
No, this is I want to say there was two other because this came out in 2020. I'm pretty sure. So there's two other Call of Duties. There's Modern Warfare.
Okay.
Modern Warfare and then Modern Warfare 2, and there's another one I can't remember because there was Modern Warfare 2 was last year, but
I remember when that came out. I'm not really. What's the other?
But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2020.
What's the other war game or whatever first-person shooter? Is there another one?
There's a bunch. You mean like Halo or something?
No, but it's based on like real life wars and shit. Is it all Call of Duty?
Pretty much. Honestly,
does Call of Duty have versions of World War II and one?
Oh yeah, there's
in the Pacific.
and then there's Battlefield 1, and there's a bunch. But
that's what I was gonna say.
My point is, that's my thing. I haven't played a game like that in a very long time. Now Battlefield is different because that's more like team based, and Call of Duty is you'll have like team deathmatch and stuff, but it's more of like. There are people that are just gonna play by themselves on a team and shit. Because they don't really
They're gonna play by themselves.
Oh, you know it. But I've been playing it a little bit, and I've been getting better at it. And I remember and then it's kind of like this weird drug where I'm like, oh, it's this little rush I get. Like, oh, I remember how fun these games were, and I was actually getting better at the game. And I'm like, oh, I'm enjoying this, And I'm like, oh no, it's like a weird thing.
If I was ever at a party and somebody was like, "Do you want a bump of like cocaine?" I'd be like, "Yeah," and that's exactly how I'd feel. Whoa!
That's what it is.
Which is why
it's my version of cocaine.
Which is why I'm never going to any parties ever again.
Unless
Jack White invites me.
The game has had improvements, and it had some updates, and I think it works really well. It's really smooth, and it's a funny thing because there's like this big dispute over the Call of Duty license because Microsoft just purchased Activision, which is a huge company, Activision Blizzard.
Well, yeah, Activision's been around since I was playing video games back when I was a kid.
They've always had the Call of Duty license, and so Xbox and Sony were in a fight for Sony saying like it's not fair that you own all of these IPs and are starting to like cannibalize the the industry,
right?
And the FTC is useless, so Microsoft won, and they're going to get Activision. But they made an agreement. Xbox and PlayStation made an agreement that Call of Duty will stay on PlayStation for another 10 years. And in an interesting move, this month, July, they released Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Like that's the free game this month, and that's the thing. As long as you're a subscriber to PlayStation Plus and you downloaded it when it was a free game, you own that game.
It seems like the same thing to me as like...
But it's Sony also showing the hand of like, hey, there's still a big player base on our platform.
Well, yeah, but also like it seems to me it's the same as like Major League Baseball being like, you can't watch our games. Like it seems stupid. Like if you were making a game, I mean, granted, if it's being like funded by... example, back in the day when it was a Nintendo game for the Nintendo Entertainment System for the NES, it was different than another company being allowed to license a Nintendo game, right? Cartridge, right?
Sony.
So it wasn't Nintendo making that game. They were making the Mario games, but you knew the cartridges were not whatever.
It's funny you brought up the MLB.
Why wouldn't you want your game on more platforms? You know what I mean? And of course they had like Sega had their own and Nintendo had their own. Sorry.
But no, I agree.
But then they had ones that were on both.
It's funny that you brought up the MLB and the blackouts and things like that because
isn't that kind of the same thing as not wanting your...
But that's the thing. For the longest time, the only MLB game you could get was on PlayStation. And then just a few years ago, MLB allowed their license to be used on Xbox. So you could download it on Xbox Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
And when you boot it up, it still has the PlayStation logo. So like a PlayStation Studios game is on Xbox Game Pass. And to me, it would only make sense. But I feel like there has to be... Well, and we're getting in a whole different conversation about this, but it's a light week.
Well, your long box is really fascinating. I want to get into it a little bit.
Well, no, because there is... I have a serious issue about this because I've been an Xbox user for a while. I've been on that side. I've enjoyed both. I think both are good companies. Both are good.
I think I'm more of a good PlayStation guy.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I bought a PS5 over a new Xbox because I just felt like there's more... The exclusives and the ecosystem is better on the PlayStation right now, and I've always been a Sony guy. I have had every version of the PlayStation, from PlayStation 1 all the way to PlayStation 5.
I've pretty much been that way too. When I had stepkids, they were all Xbox. They were into Xbox.
I had a 360. I still have my Xbox One from 2015. Like,
there's subtle differences between the between the controllers that if you play for PlayStation like a long time and then you're suddenly playing Xbox, it's like that's weird for a little bit.
I understand the problem is, in my opinion, that Xbox couldn't compete with Sony and their exclusives at this point.
Right.
Because Sony, like, God of War is everywhere. Spider-Man is doing great. I was playing a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima. That game is fucking awesome. Like, there's so many really good exclusives, and it's funny that PlayStation saw this opportunity to put Call of Duty out for free, a little bit older game, but still has a pretty solid player base. Like, when I was hopping in, and I've been playing it for here and there, since I've had PlayStation Plus.
Since I've been alive.
I've just been playing it here and there whenever for like an hour or so when I get a chance. And it's always populated. The matches are in quick. Like there's a solid player base there. And I think good. That, to me, that's an interesting move by PlayStation, kind of showing that, like, hey, we can get a big player base on here because they just announced, I think a couple days ago, that they've released 40 million PlayStation 5s, like units out there. Like, that's insane.
Well,
it's only been available for maybe like at a mass scale for like 2 years because of COVID.
Well, like another great example from like the NES years, Nintendo had Mario. You're never gonna get a Mario cartridge or a Mario version on a Sega Genesis. You're just not. Yeah. It's just not happening. But Mortal Kombat, yeah, they're gonna be on both. Why? Because Nintendo, it's. I think it was Activision, didn't they own Mortal Kombat?
It was owned by Midway, and then they.
Right.
Well, they.
But the point is, Midway
went bankrupt, and then a lot of those guys made NetherRealm
But they
Studios.
were a separate vendor. You got
and
the
it's
two
owned by Warner Brothers.
You got the two consoles, Sega and Nintendo. They're warring over the market, and you got a Mortal Kombat. Midway going like, well, we want them on both. But, of course, Nintendo's got Mario. That's their thing. Zelda's a good one, too, because you'd never find that on Genesis.
No, those games will never be
Altered Beast you'd never find on NES.
Well, I don't think you'll see Halo on PlayStation.
You never see Nintendo Kung Fu on Genesis, which was one of the best games in the fucking universe.
All right.
You had to jump just right. You had to jump just right to get those butterflies on that one level, man.
Anyway, yeah. I've been it's just been kind of fun to jump into that. And there's a lot to be said. Like, I love that PlayStation has so many, like, multiple hour single player experiences and open, like, I like those experiences. I will always love single player games. Mm-hmm. But every now and then it's nice to just kind of jump in these multiplayer, like, arcadey style games for, like, an hour just to relieve stress. Even if I'm getting my ass kicked, I'm still enjoying it because it's like I'm, having fun with it. It's been a lot more fun than I expected, and it's kind of weird because I haven't played a Call of Duty game in a very long time, so it was just fun. So
that's cool.
That's the long box.
That's a long box for the weekend. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.